Hi, I'm Diane Kometa, and today on Dishin with Di, I'm making a delicious shortbread crust. It's perfect for things like fruit tarts. So let's get started today on Dishin with Di. You need a 9-inch tart pan that's been sprayed with non-stick spray or buttered, some confectioner's sugar, some all-purpose flour, some salt, and some cold unsalted butter. I also have some plastic wrap and I have an orange here. You can use an orange or a lemon, or you can totally eliminate this. I like a little citrus flavor in my tart crust, so I'm going to use the zest of this orange, which I've thoroughly washed. So the first thing we want to do is take the dry ingredients and we're going to mix that together in our bowl. Now, this is confectioner's sugar. There's no need to sift this first. And then this is the all-purpose flour and the salt. So just take your whisk and combine that well. And then add in some of the zest if you'd like. And I've made the crust plenty of times without the zest, but I'm going to be using this for a fruit tart today. And I just think it's just going to add that little extra, mystery sweet flavor in the background that's really going to make it special. So I just want to add this in. So get all that in there and whisk that through too. All right, that looks good. Now you could do this in your food processor too if you want to, but I just don't feel like cleaning mine today, so I'm going to do it by hand, and I have a pastry cutter here. So with the unsalted butter, I've cut this up, and then I had this in the freezer. So first cut it, put it in the freezer, and let it get really, really cold. So now I'm just going to put this in here, and we're going to cut this in. And just using my pastry cutter, I'm going to press this in until it gets like crumbs. So it'll take a few minutes. You just keep pressing, and when it starts to get accumulated like that, you just kind of scrape it off with a knife, and then just keep going. Okay, there's what you're looking for, and you can see it's starting to stick together. So when you grab it, it holds its form, okay? So now you have your tart pan here, and what you're going to do is dump this into the tart pan. Spread it out, pat it down a little bit, just kind of get it even, and push it up the sides a little bit. You don't want it to be like too thick in any one spot, and just kind of get it in place. It might look a little dry, but that's okay. And you might have, some bigger pieces of butter in places, but that's okay. It's supposed to look like that. Okay, now take some plastic wrap, put this over the top, and then with your measuring cup that you use to measure, press down on this to get it in there nice and firm. And you want to do this because, first of all, it starts to get all over your fingers when you're pressing it in by hand. And then the warmth of your hand actually starts to soften that butter a little bit, and you want to try to avoid that. So just use this, and this really gets it in there good, in the sides and everything. So just press that in nicely. Okay, you just want to try to make sure that you get the edges nice and even. You see it's nice and smooth, and you see all those flicks of orange. It smells absolutely amazing. So now just take a fork and just poke some holes in the crust all over. And this will help when the crust is cooking so that it doesn't bubble up, which it still might do, but this will help try to, prevent that as much as possible. So just get some holes in there and then cover it back up with the plastic and put it into your freezer for about 15 minutes. You just want it to kind of get a little bit firm again. And during that time, turn your oven on to 350 degrees to get it preheated, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, my crust is nice and chilled. And I have a baking sheet lined with some foil here, just in case there's any kind of moisture that might come out. I don't want to dirty my baking sheet. And I'm going to put this into my preheated 350 degree oven for approximately 20 minutes. So you just want it to be lightly golden, and that can happen between 15 and 25 minutes. So just keep an eye on it. and then I'm going to take it out of the oven and let it rest on my baking rack to cool, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's all done. My shortbread crust is done, and I let it cool on the rack, and then I put it in the refrigerator. I like to do that to make sure it's like really kind of set before I take it out of the pan. So I'm actually going to be using this for my fruit tart today, and I just want to show you. I'm going to carefully remove this. The edges are just lightly golden. It's just beautiful. There you go. The full recipe is on my website, dishinwithdi.com, and don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to have you. I hope I made your life a little easier, more enjoyable, and delicious. I'll see you next time, and don't forget that fruit tart. Bye-bye now.